What's up YouTube, it's your boy DMD and I'm coming at you guys today with kind of a top 5 video. I wanted to discuss the top 5 floodgates of the December 2019 Yu-Gi-Oh format. So given the fact that our top decks consist of Thunder Dragon, Salamangreat, Orcust, a little bit of Sky Striker, and like pendulums, I figured that I wanted to discuss in depth kind of the 5 best floodgates for the format. So here are my top 5 floodgates for the December 2019 format. So to start things off, I have Antispell Fragrance at number 5. So Antispell Fragrance has a few niche applications in our current format, given its interactions with, of course, pendulums being one of the most prominent decks currently in the metagame, as well as, of course, Sky Striker. Obviously, if you set an Antispell Fragrance against pendulums, they're going to be not playing for at least one turn unless they have an out. And against Sky Striker, being able to stop your opponent from activating Engage 4 times in a turn 1, can be very advantageous to you as it gives you time to set up your board uninterrupted. So for number 4 and number 3, I actually have kind of a tie, but for number 4 I decided to opt for Soul Drain because of the fact that Salad, Orcust, and Thunder all lose hard to this card if you can set it up and you happen to see it. Being able to stop your opponent from activating effects that would be activated in the graveyard and in the banish pile stops a plethora of effects from both Salamangreat and Thunder. Not being able to trigger the grave effects of Salamangreat monsters and not being able to trigger the Thunder effect monsters when they hit the banished pile is incredibly powerful for stifling those strategies. Not being able to trigger your Hawk to shuffle cards back in and mulligan, and not being able to summon back your Spinny or your Jaguar is incredibly powerful. Not to mention how powerful shutting down the graveyard is against Orcust, objectively the best deck in the metagame currently. Orcust without a graveyard and not being able to activate the effects of their Harp Horror or Symbol Skeleton means that the ways that they normally disrupt the opponent, like summoning a Dingirsu on their opponent's turn, or summoning a card like Gizmek, or using the Harp Horror in their graveyard to extend, just simply isn't possible under Soul Drain. Even though the card is limited, it still has very practical applications throughout our current metagame, and I had to put it at my number 4 spot just because of that. An even better version of Soul Drain, however, is the actually searchable in-archetype floodgate known as Necrovalley. Necrovalley is incredible this format because any card effect, obviously, that would move a card from the graveyard to another place can't be activated, which literally hits Thunder Dragon Hawk, Thunder Dragon Duo, Thunder Dragon Fusion, Salamangreat Spinny, Salamangreat Jaguar, Will of the Salamangreat, Orcust Symbol Skeleton, Orcust Harp Horror. Need I go on? I mean, this card is incredibly powerful, and I am not going to be surprised if it starts popping up more in the metagame, especially considering Royal Tribute is now at 3, and I'm sure there are quite a few Gravekeeper fans out there willing to play the deck for fun or competitively. Oh boy, my number 2. Inspector Border. This card murks every combo deck ever, but its applications against Orcust, Salamangreat, Thunder Dragon, and literally every other combo deck, it's pretty much GG. Even decks that aren't combo decks like Altergeist struggle against Inspector Border, because not only does it stop pretty much all monster effects, but guess what? It's also 2K, which is kind of big. He a big boy, so that can kind of cause problems for a lot of combo decks that don't run a lot of strong main deck monsters. Another really niche application of Inspector Border is that when played in stun decks, you don't have to fear the hand traps that you normally would going first to stop things like Card of Demise, because your opponent can't ash you if they don't have an extra deck monster, which typically isn't the case if you're going first. With this list, I've given you so far 4 Floodgates that are in competition for the best Floodgates of the format. However, we have not said what number 1 is yet, and in case you don't understand, there can only be one. Yes, there can only be one is the number 1 Floodgate. This card is objectively, I think, the best Floodgate of the format because it hits a massive variety of decks and can be played in a number of different stun decks. Decks like Guru Control and True Draco can utilize this card to lock out several different decks from trying to play against them, especially considering when Guru Control and True Draco go off, they really only need one monster to keep on the field. For example, against Orcists, if you're playing True Draco and you flip there can be only one, it's a wrap. If you flip there can be only one and you're playing against Thunder, it's a wrap. If you're playing against Salamangreat and you flip there can be only one, I kind of want to say it's a wrap because they can't really extend and they can't make Sunlight Wolves, so I don't really know what they're doing. And of course, with Pendulums, they can somewhat play around it, but not very well because of the fact that their entire main deck is Spellcasters. So they have to have a Dark Worm or maybe an Endymion to make a Phoenix, and if you have other Floodgates on top of the there can be only one, then they're not really going to out it with Phoenix either. So I kind of had to give it to there can be only one, given the fact that even within context of no other cards, this card hits the majority of the decks in the meta. So guys, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this top 5 countdown. If you guys would like to make suggestions on what I can do to improve my content, please leave them down in the comment section below. And if you guys feel I left any Floodgates out of this list, please feel free to list them down in the comment section below also. It's me, it's that DMD, and your boy is out.